Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Last Exit Podcast on YouTube. I'm your host, Gary, and today we're going to be doing the first of many collection videos. So pretty much in this video, I'm going to be showing off my vinyl collection of 90s bands. I don't believe any of this vinyl is actually from the 90s itself. It's all represses. And I have much more vinyl, but I'm only going to be showing off, stuff that was released in the 90s. So we're going to get started right now. I have all of my vinyl in these protective clear sleeves, so they don't get scratched, the covers stay in good shape. But however, I took them off for this video so you can get a clearer picture of the vinyl itself. And because of my OCD, this is going to be in alphabetical order. And again, this is my collection right now. There's still plenty more to come. First up is Alice in Chains' Dirt. In my opinion, the best album by Alice in Chains. Definitely their best studio album. Jar of Flies is an awesome EP. But as far as studio albums go, this is the best in my opinion. Inner sleeve has the lyrics just like the CD would have. Just on plain black vinyl, as are most of these. If the vinyl changes a little bit, I'll definitely pull it out and show you. Next up, Blind Melon Soup. Blind Melon sophomore release. It's in a gatefold package. Again, another great album by Blind Melon. My favorite album by Blind Melon. And there's a lyric sheet in there that opens up. It says menu, just like the CD. Bear with me, I don't want to ruin these. I'll put it back in there nicely. Next we have, in my opinion, the greatest singer-songwriter of the 90s, Jeff Buckley, with his only studio album, Grace. Just a phenomenal album. I own this on all formats, even the deluxe edition CD. Again, there's a little poster in there with just some credits on the back. Yeah, Jeff Buckley with Grace. I haven't really spoke about Jeff Buckley yet on a podcast, but he's coming, definitely. Next up is Depeche Mode with Violator, their 1990 release, and definitely their best album. I am a big fan of Depeche Mode. As it opens up there. Albums such as Black Celebration, Music for the Masses. And this sleeve, some more artwork, some lyrics on the back. So yeah, Depeche Mode. Pretty much like an 80s band. They did have some really cool stuff in the 90s, but this is their best album, and this is from 1990. Next we have Foo Fighters' debut album. So this album, Dave Grohl pretty much had written right before Nirvana had, disbanded because of Kurt's death. And Dave pretty much put this out as a demo tape, just thought of a ridiculous name. So people didn't think it was, or people didn't know it was the drummer from Nirvana. He really didn't want to, sell on that alone. So, as you can see, the Foo Fighters name stuck. And then we got Foo Fighters sophomore release. My favorite album by the Foo Fighters. This is a double vinyl set. Not a gatefold though, just opens up there. This is the color and the shape. 4 sides on there, 2 discs. Next up, we have Green Day with Dookie. Don't have the Elmo on the back there. That was cropped out. The one thing is the lyric sheet. It's pretty much just the booklet that you would find in the CD. Just expand it. The one grief I have about this is I think the vinyl should be that Dookie color like the CD is. That light brown baby crap color. It kind of matches this color here in the Green Day font. Next we have Hole's breakthrough album, Live Through This. This album came out right after the death of Kurt Cobain, and Courtney Love being away at the time. I guess a tough time for everything, but really blew up and really took over, even though Kurt was gone. Speaking of Kurt, we have the Melvins. This is their first major label debut on Atlantic Records. I I believe. This is on Third Man Records repress, which is owned by Jack White of the White Stripes. But the reason I said, speaking of Kurt Cobain, if you guys listened in the podcast when I talked about the Melvins, Kurt is actually credited as a co-producer on this. You can see it there. Kurt Cobain. Sorry, it's kind of tough to see. And I guess I should block that out. But Pussycats. Kurt also plays guitar and is credited with playing drums on this album also. At the time, Kurt's health wasn't that great, so Buzz Osborne came out years later and was like he really didn't do much. He just wasn't there mentally at the time, which is a shame. And another Melvins album I have, my favorite, Stoner Witch. It's the gatefold there. Just a great album overall, and I just love the artwork. I actually wish I had 2 copies of this, one to frame the artwork. Just beautiful artwork, and it's awesome. And next we have The Downward Spiral, 9 Inch Nails. I think we all know this album. Gatefold. This is a double LP set. It comes with artwork, lyric sheet. It's pretty much a bigger version of the CD booklet that you get in that. That was a unique packaging. And this is pretty cool too. It's just like a little article. I actually haven't read this. But this is the, I believe it may be the 20th anniversary issue of The Downward Spiral, but I'm not sure. I also own Pretty Hate Machine, but since it came out in 1989, I decided not to show it in this video. I kind of screwed up. Speaking of 1989, there's Bleach. Can't show it in the video, it's not the 90s, but I do own Bleach. Now we can get to the 90s, but never mind. Of course I would own this. The first entry into Last Exit Podcast Hall of Fame. There isn't a... Yeah, there's not a... Oh, there is. Sorry. I didn't think there was. Little insert there. It's pretty much like the inside of the CD was. Then we have my favorite album by Nirvana, In Utero. As you can see, these are very similar to the CD. However, this has the sleeve with the pictures and lyrics on it. The simple black David Geffen Company vinyl press. Next up we have MTV Unplugged in New York by Nirvana. The best Unplugged ever performed. That's cool. What's cool about this is this kind of has like a rougher paper, like kind of almost a newspaper feel to it, as opposed to all the other vinyl sleeves are like glossy. And now we're gonna get into my favorite band of all time, the almighty Pearl Jam. And speaking of glossy, this one is really glossy. So this is the original cover. However, in the CD, it's kind of just blocked out, and once you open the CD booklet, it expands to this. What could be said that hasn't been said already about this album? One of the greatest debut albums of all time. It sounds as good today as it did in 1991. So yeah, Pearl Jam, that's 10. Following up 10, I got their sophomore album, Versus. Gatefold there. The front cover is a little different than the CD version. I believe this was the original vision. I think the CD cover was put out there by the record company to make it a little more appealing. It's got that Pearl Jam written over here, and it's a different take. It looks like the sheep is biting through the wire here on the CD cover. So yeah, insert inside there. I can't get out right now. Black vinyl, of course. What's cool about this is, and also with 10, the emblem here is very similar to the CD Next up, one of my personal favorite albums by Pearl Jam, Yield. What's cool about this is it, kind of like the CD. Got that Yield cut out there. Some cool different pictures on there. And once again, as you can see, the emblem there in the middle of the CD, vinyl, is similar to the CD. So yeah, for those of you that have never seen Single Video Theory and you're a Pearl Jam fan, or if you're not a Pearl Jam fan, just a fan of music and making albums in general, I suggest you go check it out. What Single Video Theory is a pretty much a recap of the making of Yield. And at the time, right at their Vitalogy, Pearl Jam was actually on the brink of breaking up. The band members were kind of in disagreement with Eddie, and Eddie was kind of, taking things on his own. Came to the point where Jeff Ament, the original member from, the Roots from Green River, actually wanted to quit. So Single Video Theory pretty much shows you the band getting back together, working together great, and it's just an awesome video. It's just it's crazy to see these great songs being worked out and put together from, infancy. Alright, next up we have Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire. Now, when I went to buy Rage Against the Machine vinyl, obviously all three of their studio albums are phenomenal. I'm not counting Renegades as a studio album because it's even though it's a great album, it's all cover songs. There's the lyrics, artwork. So yeah, anyway, when I went to go buy Rage Against the Machine album, it was kind of tough. Should I buy the Battle of Los Angeles? Should I buy Evil Empire? Should I buy the self-titled? However, the self-titled, a lot of times, recently, I've seen it on, picture disc, and I don't really want a picture disc because I want the actual sleeve. So that's the main reason I didn't buy it yet, but that'll probably be next up. But choosing between this and the Battle of Los Angeles, even though Battle of Los Angeles I'd say may be my favorite of the two, I had to buy this just to hear Bulls on Parade on vinyl. Also Downward Deo, one of my all-time favorite songs by Rage. Next up, something a little obscure. This is One Hot Minute by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the album they did with Dave Navarro. Pretty much grabbed this when I saw it because I haven't seen it on vinyl before. So there's the booklet with some pictures and the lyrics. So yeah, One Hot Minute, very underrated album. Excuse me. Next up, Smashing Pumpkins with their debut album, Gish. This is, I love this artwork. Gatefold has all the lyrics in there. So it comes with the white sleeve, and also there's another sleeve inside that fits the vinyl, but I guess for artwork purposes they put it in a white sleeve to be protective of it, and I thank them for that. That's the back cover that comes on the actual sleeve. And also came with this paper of a back cover that tells you the songs, and I kind of just, when I put it in my plastic slip, kind of just stick it in there like that. Thanks to Rachel and her gift card she got me for Christmas, I was able to grab that. Next we have Elliott Smith, second greatest singer-songwriter behind Jeff Buckley, with Either Or. This is a phenomenal album from, beginning to end. I love this album. Songs like Say Yes, one of my favorite songs of all time, 2:45 a.m., Rose Parade, Pictures of Me. There's just a lyric sheet that comes in there. And, yeah, sorry, it's just trying to keep these as perfect as possible. Shouldn't be pulling them out and shoving them back in there like that. So yeah, Either Or by Elliott Smith. And if you guys are a fan of Elliott Smith, or even if you're not, and you don't know about him, I suggest to go pick this album up. You can even get it on vinyl. It's like $17 brand new. It's worth every cent. Alright, the next one. This is my favorite vinyl I own. Soundgarden, the A-Sides. This is a Record Store Day 2018 exclusive. I've showed this off on my Facebook page before for those who follow. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's on translucent green marble vinyl. 2-disc set. And what's cool about it is each side of vinyl features a band member. There's Matt Cameron, Kim Thales on the other side. On the first side is Chris Cornell and Ben Shepherd, which is on the second side. Sorry, I just had a little trouble getting that back in there. Yeah, this looks so unprofessional. I'm sure you people would rather see me taking care of my vinyl and throwing it around anyway. See, there's an insert. Credits, the pictures. Credits on the other side. Same thing. Pictures. Credits. Band member. Hero is on there being credited because there's of songs like Nothing to Say, Flower, Loud Love. Okay, next up, Stone Temple Pilots with Purple. This is just a basic vinyl, no artwork inside, just a plain white sleeve, black vinyl on the signature Atlantic pressing there with the green and orange, 12 Gracious Melodies. Track listings out on here just like the CD. Next up we have Sublime with Robin the Hood. This is a unique album. I do not own 40 Ounce of Freedom yet. I remember picking this up at a good price, double vinyl. The reason I say it's unique is it's kind of like a B-sides compilation thrown together. There are some great songs on here like Pool Shark, both the electric version and the acoustic. Features a cameo from Gwen Stefani on Saw Red. But there are a lot of like joking talk on there, and like Cisco Kid and random stuff, some instrumentals and some loop dubs and things like that. And speaking of Sublime, we have the iconic self-titled last studio album by Sublime. Again, this is double vinyl, so you got Sublime there. Artwork on the other side. That's the first disc. Second disc. Yeah, like I said, all these vinyl are pretty much similar to the CD. The gatefold here is pretty much the CD booklet expanded, made a little bigger. Sublime. That sounds great on vinyl, by the way. And I have one left. The only vinyl owned by Tool right now. This is Opiate, their EP, and one of my favorite albums by Tool, actually. I love this and Enema. Only 6 tracks on this. This is pretty cheap. You can get this for like $10. I think I picked this up at like Barnes & Noble for like, maybe it's like $7.99 with like a coupon or something. So yeah, this is Tool just beginning. Very alternative metal, and you also has like a touch of grunge in there, I guess because of the time. So yeah, that's all my vinyl for right now of the 90s. And I guess once I get enough, I could do an update, throw some more in there and show you what I got since then. I also kind of post things on my personal Instagram, not really in the podcast Instagram, but there's some cool stuff on there. Speaking of the podcast Instagram, go follow. It's at Last Exit Podcast. You can also find me on Facebook at Last Exit, a 90s music podcast. Thanks guys for watching, and stay tuned for some more YouTube videos. Goodbye.